What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm super excited today. I've got another awesome guest for you, another entrepreneur. This is Dan Elson, and I'm going to spare you the long bio. I'm going to let him tell you about himself in his own words. So, Dan, thank you so much for showing up today, man. I appreciate having you on the show.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. So, I was doing a little bit of research on you before we got started, and I noticed you like a good conspiracy. At least that's what it says on your LinkedIn profile. So I gotta know, man, do aliens exist? Are they real?
100%. Well, I guess with anything, it's all about the data and looking at that. But yeah, I think the amount of stuff I've read and watched and all this kind of stuff, then I think let's go with yes.
Yeah, we're probably we're a couple of aliens right here. I would say with all the stuff that we're doing, it's a little bit different than the way most people live their lives.
Well, it's not only that, but this is like in human existence. 10,000 years or whatever it's been. This is crazy. This is definitely not what the human race has ever been about. Even having this conversation like we are doing, it's a crazy time to be alive.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. So tell us a little bit about, your journey, how you got started as an entrepreneur. Is it something you've been doing your whole life, or is this a recent development for you? Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting journey, I guess. I guess what I'll do is I'll start at back in 2015. 2015, I essentially thought I had everything figured out. I went through like a society's conventional way to do things. So went through school, went to university, got the degree, then got a really good job, and then I was getting promoted in that job and kind of doing everything that everybody asked for in that kind of world. And don't get me wrong, loved it. Working for a digital agency, one of the best in the UK. I lived opposite it in the city centre, in my own apartment, in a pad and all this kind of stuff. And I was 25, and I was like, wow, I've almost made it in terms of what society says you should be doing. And then the long hours came, the stress came, the hair went, and I was just like, like I was like, there must be something more. I'm here now, but what's next? And I read a book called Yes Man. Now, I don't know if you guys out there are familiar with this book. There's a film out there with Jim Carrey, but it's not very good. But the book itself is written by a UK author, Danny Wallace. So not only has he got a really good name, first name like me, Dan, but he essentially, he had this book, and if you've not read it, go read it. Especially if you were thinking about being a digital nomad or travel, or you're not happy with your life, or whatever it might be, just go read it. And I won't spoil the story, but essentially, he was saying no to a lot of things, and one day decided to say yes, and then it got to the point where he was saying yes to everything, and the way that his life changed, and the experiences he had. I just believe in experiences because it speeds up what you learn in life. It speeds up the character you are and the person you are. And, you're reading his story day by day in like a diary format. And it's amazing from the person he actually went to and the life he has now. And that book kind of inspired me. And I was like, you know what? This can't be it. And it ain't it. Then what do I actually want to do? So one late night, I was working till past 7. And it doesn't sound late, but when you're at a high pressure job and you're dealing with clients all the time, it gets to you. And it was a late night shopping night. So I walked up the high street shops, and a shop called STA Travel, which is like student travel shop. Does a lot of backpacking and all this kind of stuff. And I'd never even looked at this. I'd never looked at a hostel. I didn't even know what a hostel was. I just thought it was, in the UK, hostels are generally considered for like homeless people. And I was like, what is this world? And anyway, I sat down, and the girl was like, well, where do you want to go? And I was like, I need to do something different with my life. I was like, I always wanted to go see Machu Picchu. So going back to the conspiracies and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I always wanted to go. And she's like, okay, cool. So she got a map out, she showed me on a map. She was like, "We'll fly you into Peru, which is where Machu Picchu is, and then we'll fly you back." And she just looked at me with like a silly grin, and I was like, "Probably not." And she was like, "Nah." So she started talking me through like the journey of booking, essentially, once in a lifetime round the world trip. And she was like, "Right, we'll fly into Brazil, and we do this and that, and all these different experiences and places I'd never even thought about going." And I thought, so I went away, thought about it for like a day, and I rang her and I went, "Book it." And she was like, "Really? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Just book it. They'll ask me again. Let's just do it. Let's not think about it." So once I did that, then life changed. I moved out of the city centre, moved back in with my parents because I knew I had to save a certain amount. So I always have this belief where your brain is like the best machine in the world. It's the best computer in the world. You tell it a thing that you want to achieve, and it'll just figure out. It'll map a way to get there. And it did. I said to myself, right, I need this money to be able to actually afford to go on this trip. I've booked the trip and all the flights and all this kind of stuff, but actually to do it and be there every day. So moved back in with my parents. The car went. I had no life. Essentially, I didn't go out. I used to have to travel 2 hours to and from work on trains and buses, and I just knew it. I had to do this to get this money to go do this trip. So, June 2015 is when I got on a plane on my own. The first time on my own. I've been on holidays before and with family and friends, but first time on my own solo trip. Get on a plane to Brazil. Everybody's Brazilian on the plane, and I'm just getting on this plane, and I'm like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
But you know what? That's the fun part. And once you get over it, and you get over that, essentially, it's fear of the unknown. We obviously we'd rather keep in pain when we go towards pleasure. This is just how we work as humans. And I was just like, Tony Robbins and all these kind of people going about this, but I was just like, whatever happens, happens. Let's just do it. If I don't like it, I'll just come back. So that's kind of where I guess the middle of, well, the beginning of my current life. So the beginning of where I am today is it all happened, from essentially, going, what's next? The book, right place, right time to inspire me to do it. And I've never looked back. So, over the last 4 years, I did a 6-month trip, and I thought, yeah, like everybody says, like the round the world trip, once in a lifetime experience. Well, not once in a lifetime. I think anybody who really does it suddenly sees a reality in front of them that's completely different to the one that you're meant to, sit in the chair 9 to 5. You're meant to, put money in your pension. And I'm not to say this is wrong or right way to do life, but some people just don't want that. And when I came back after that 6 months, I was like, reality's changed. Reality's different now. So how am I going to deal with this current reality? Unfortunately, at the time, I had zero money. So it was back into my parents' house, back using my degree and my experience that I already had of multiple years in agencies. I got a job again, 2 hours to and from work. Traveling from my parents' house, my hometown, to the nearest big city where it was all going on. And I was like, I'm back into this, but I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it to get money again. And I knew exactly what we were doing this time. I knew as soon as I hit a set figure, I think at the time it was like, as soon as I got 7 grand, I knew I could do it all again. I knew I could just leave, and then we'll figure out a way and a plan when I go. So I worked for 10 months straight up to like October 2016, and it's killing me. I hate it. I just don't like it, and everything goes with it because I'm just fighting against, I guess, my purpose. I'm fighting against my values, and I just don't want that life anymore. But anyway, I've saved up enough money, and I'm like, right, cool, right, see your job. And my job noticing again. So it's like the second job I've quit in best part of a year, a little bit longer. And then it's just a one-way ticket. I don't go through the STA travel and booking every, a flight from here to there to wherever it is. It's just one-way trip to travel to Thailand. I go to Thailand. I travel Southeast Asia. I go everywhere that I went to before, but redo it again. And loads of other places as well, from Philippines to Japan to South Korea, and it's amazing. And I'm loving everything. I'm loving life. And that's 10 months later. I land in Australia, and I'm like, right, okay, well, Australia's really good because I can make quite a lot of money because standard of living's higher in terms of like your money and all this kind of stuff. And I can make enough money to go do it again. Now I get into an agency that I don't necessarily like, and there's all kind of challenges that come ahead, and you know, again, I'm like, what am I doing? This is the second time that I've gone back into something I do not want to do, and I was like, I can't do this again. So I end up doing essentially 18-hour days because I go into work, stress and all this kind of stuff. I go to the gym, I come back, and I'm like, right, this is the only time I've got now, and at the weekends I have to do something. So I'm doing everything I can potentially do to get new clients, to you know, start a blog and write guest posts on other people's blogs, and do you know, podcasts like this, and anything I can do to start getting things rolling, to start pushing ahead and reading books and taking courses and whatever it takes to essentially start my own thing. And I knew in my head, as soon as I got enough money, and at the time it was like, as soon as I make $1,000 a month, I know I can travel Asia, I know I can travel South America. You know, believe it or not, it's actually cheaper to travel and work remotely, and potentially cheaper to wherever you're currently living. You know, especially for me, you know, that was what I was paying to live in the city centre in an apartment on my own. And you know, it's crazy to think like that. So if you find a way to be able to work remotely and you know, minimum $1,000 a month, you can pretty much be anywhere you want and do what you want. So I was like, right, that's my goal. I know that's what I need to achieve. So I put things again, tell my brain. I was like, right, just do it. Let's figure out a way to do it. So, you know, I'm doing everything I can possibly do at the weekends. You know, everybody's out in the sun. It's Australia. I lived in Sydney, going to the beach, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, you know, that's not my future. I know where my future lies. So, yeah, I realized as soon as I got that, I could quit my job that I didn't like and get out of there. That's what I did. I came back last July for a family wedding. So it was kind of perfect. It was like, family wedding, let's go back. Now I'm making enough money. I essentially made sure that I was getting that income regularly every month. And end of last September, that's it. I got a plane, went to Europe for a few months, came back, went to Mexico, went to South America, and I got back to the UK in May. I've come back for a few family things over the summer to enjoy the beautiful English summer. And yeah, now it's all about building more money so that I can do the thing that I love, which is travel the world and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I know that was a big story, but a lot of things have happened in the last 4 years, and a lot of experiences, and the person I am now, you know, I'm all about, I always think life is all about like moving forward and getting better and better. And the person that I was even 6 months ago is completely different to the person I am now. And I think the more experiences you have and the quicker you have them, the more you improve, the better person you become. Simply because if you're in that 9-to-5 life and you're not liking it, you're enjoying it, you're not growing, you're not getting better, and you're almost staying still. And that's what I found over the last 4 years. It's been one hell of a crazy ride.
I love that, man. You know, that is an amazing story and an amazing ride. And just for everybody listening right now, I hope they understand the way that you're talking, man. I can feel your passion for travel. I can feel your passion for wanting to live life on your terms. And this is the mindset that is required to do anything, to become an entrepreneur, to build anything on your own. Like you said, you have to be able to say yes, you know, to opportunities and not be worried about the fear or about, you know, the potential consequence that may happen. I forget who exactly said this, but I love this quote. And this is something I always tell myself, like when you're looking at an opportunity or anything, what's the worst possible case scenario, right? What's the worst thing that could happen? Mm-hmm. Can you handle that? Like, what would you do if that happened? If you can handle that, then you need to go for it. Like whatever it is, just go for it. And that's awesome, man. So saying yes, to opportunities and opening your mind up to something else, real and also being aware enough to realize that you were in a situation that was making you unhappy and starting to look for another alternative path. Like most people, like you say, that they'll just sit, they'll sit in their unhappiness because they're just afraid to change. But what they don't realize is that their best life is right on the other side of that fear. And so I love that you went for it. You took that leap of faith, and here you are traveling the world like you want and living the life of your dreams, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you, because so many people unfortunately hit the grave with regrets. They wish they would have done the things that you're doing. So that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about like the current, state. Because like you said, we live in a crazy world. Here we are talking to each other across, you were on different parts of the planet, yet we're having a conversation. The internet has completely revolutionized the way business is done, the way the world works. So just give me your thoughts about, like the current state of social media, digital marketing. Like, is it something that business owners and entrepreneurs should be thinking about if they're not already doing it? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, good question. Well, yeah, the world that we live in now is completely different, and things just changing so rapidly. And I guess a lot of a lot of businesses are not necessarily keeping up with that. And we all know, like, if you don't keep up with how things are going, then you don't survive. And I think, yeah, the internet has given everybody such a massive opportunity to do what they want to do. This is the best time to be alive, in my opinion. It's the best time to have so many different opportunities of what you can do. I'm a strong believer in, look, there's two different ways you can go about this. Like, if you want to be, start your own business, it's no better time. There's so many different opportunities. You can learn a skill and then sell it, or you can buy something and then sell it. And the internet's perfect there for you to learn about how to do it. You can find contacts, just as we found each other on Facebook groups. You can find contacts to help you do whatever you want to do, or you can find contacts to learn and understand and model the way that they've done it. So I think the internet, for people like us and the people who want to start their own thing, potentially want to work remotely or just want to start their own business and serve other people, I think now is the best time ever in human history. We've got so many opportunities and so many different tools that allow us to do crazy stuff. And how this affects businesses, well, my background's all in marketing, passion for travel and marketing. I love it. So I love both of them. And the way that I see marketing, at the core of marketing, is essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to make people's lives easier and better. That's it. There's two simple things that we're trying to do. So if we can do that as marketeers, then that's the core purpose of what we're doing. And I believe every business should have marketing at the core, and especially digital marketing. There's massive opportunity now to hit people at the right time, the right place, with the right offer, and that's what marketing is all about, to improve their lives and make their lives easier. And I think now with social media, the marketing that you can do online is so personalized, and that's a good thing, because me as a marketeer, I don't want to spend my money or my clients' money on hitting everybody on a TV commercial, because that makes no sense. You're hitting people who just don't care. You're wasting budget, essentially. You're wasting money, chucking it out into nothingness. Whereas like now, I want to see from the other side, as a consumer, I want to see adverts which appeal to me. I want adverts which jump out at me. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see something I'm just not interested in. I want to see an advert which is talking about travel and get me excited about to go X place. So I want to see an advert of a product that's going to make my experiences in life better or easier. That's what I want to see. I'm not interested in flowers. I don't want to see a flowers advert. So that's the key now. With the internet, you can be that tailored, and that's important. And that allows companies to get the message out to the right people at the right time. And for a consumer, you're getting to see and experience the right type of products to make your life better. And that's why I believe the internet and social media has allowed us to do. So you've got two opportunities, either as yourself to be your own business owner, to create a product or a service and sell it, or to upsell yourself and then sell it as a service. And as a business, you've got the biggest opportunity ever to hit the people at the right time, right place with the right message, to improve the lives of your customers, to improve their lives and make them better. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. And like you said, never in history have we been able to so deeply target, a consumer based on their interests, what we know about them. And this is all data that they're providing, just by their behavior online. And
Yeah.
so, I love that answer too, that marketing is all about making things easier and better for the consumer. You know, uh, Obviously there's people out there and companies out there that market with, some poor behaviors. They may not follow the best practices, but most people out there, I think, are like yourself, where we're really trying to just benefit and make the lives of our consumers better, by offering them products or services that would make sense for them where they're at. So I totally agree. And without getting like too detailed, what would you say for a starting entrepreneur, for somebody who's looking at transitioning, out of a 9 to 5 and maybe starting a side hustle, like, as far as social media goes or digital marketing, like, what should they focus on? Where should they start?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I guess my background is all about processes and having a strategy of exactly what you want to do. So first of all, I'd actually start off like, what do you actually want in life? Like, what is your goal? What is your purpose? Like, if it's to travel, then look, start with like, I know I need $1,000 a month to be able to travel anywhere and live anywhere and do what I want to do there. So all right, great. So you've got a figure now that you need to hit per month. So you go, right, okay, well, I've got a figure that I want to hit. So what can I actually do? Well, I'd always stay with your essentially your kind of passion. So if you've got a passion for something, then what I'd do is I'd work out other people like you. So essentially your target audience. And then I'd figure out what kind of problems they've got. So I'd write down all the problems in a big list. And then next to that, I'd write the outcomes, what problem they've got and what outcome they actually want. Now, your job then as a business owner, as somebody who's potentially, what can you offer? Is it a product or is it service that gets them closer to that outcome, and figure that out, and then either upsell yourself or get somebody else who knows what they're doing and outsource it to them. But essentially, what you're doing is you're taking somebody from that problem to the solution, so the outcome that they want. And like I say, it's either you find products or you find services to do that, and then you go out there and you market that. So now we know that there's so many big opportunities online to get yourself out there. If you want to, for example, market yourself as a certain skill to help somebody get from that problem to that outcome, then great. So what you have to do is obviously create a website, create a brand proposition. What makes you different to everybody else? Ideally, you want to create your own blue ocean. What I mean by that is there's a really good book out there. I've forgotten the author, but it's a red ocean, blue ocean. The idea being is if you go into a red ocean where everybody else is, you're all fighting for the little scraps, it's not good. What you want to do is you want to create a blue ocean. So find that outcome, that problem and that outcome, and create a blue ocean around what service you can provide to get somebody close to that outcome. Then you create that. So you've got your brand proposition, your target audiences, you create your website built around that, you create social profiles built around that, and then you get your name out there. So, there's many ways to go about it. There's paid ways and there's also unpaid ways. Paid ways are going to get you there quicker, but if you don't have the money to invest, then you have to go the other route, which is slower. But if you've got the passion for it and you want to really do it, and that goes back to your big why are you actually doing it, then you'll figure out a way to do it. You'll contact small people who run podcasts like this, or you contact other people in your niche, and you get guest blogging opportunities on their website, and you slowly move up and you get your name out there, you get your brand awareness out there, and then you can start contacting journalists. Journalists love it if you can give them an angle and it's something interesting. Unfortunately, generally negative, but sometimes positive as well. If you give them an angle, and they've got essentially it's a lot of luck involved, but if they've got a slow word there, they'll feature you. As soon as you get in one, you can use that to snowball into the other ones, because essentially all use the same stories. You all use the kind of the similar things. You'll notice that with media. So yeah, there's kind of I guess a bit of a blueprint in terms of what you can actually do. there is ways that you can start getting out there. And if you want it, you'll make a path to getting there. So focus on your big why. Find a skill that you can essentially sell, or a product that can help somebody's life better. Be easier, get to that outcome that they want from that problem that they've already got. Problem solution, that's the heart of marketing. And then you're on your way to creating something that you want. You're on your way to actually having a blueprint to that life that you want.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. So, you're totally right, man. You have to find a problem out there, that is within a niche that isn't overly saturated. Like you said, the red market, blue market. And so many people, in my experience, is what I've seen, being a part of a lot of Facebook groups that have entrepreneurs and people that are getting started. They jump into like these Me Too products, like they see something that's already out there and they're like, oh, I'm just going to do that, and then it's like a Me Too type of thing. That's never going to work. These, like you say, these oceans are red because of the blood of, the customers that are being fed on. You want to go find yourself a new opportunity, but it all boils down to, like you said, provide value. Just find a way to provide value and make your customer's life happy. And if you don't know where to start with yourself. What are you passionate about? Like you mentioned, find people that are out there like you and solve the problems that you're having. And then you can go on from there. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. And what would you say to those? And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but those that are, I guess, afraid to put themselves out there, because a big part of social media is putting yourself out there. I mean, like you say, you got to get your name out there. You got to get your reputation out there. You really, in a way, we need to create these personal brands in order to get seen and to get noticed. But a lot of people have fear of getting behind the camera or, starting to put their voice out there. How would you recommend they sort of deal with that?
Yeah, good question. Well, essentially, if you look at it this way, we're all our own brands, regardless if we like it or not, or regardless if we actually know it. So we've all got an Instagram profile. The vast majority of us have got an Instagram profile, they've got a Facebook profile. They might have Twitter, they might have LinkedIn, depending if like professional services, or they might have a website already. So essentially, we are a brand anyway. So regardless if you think about it, you're actually putting the perception of you online. That's what we are already doing. So you've kind of jumped that hurdle already. If you think about it, you've kind of jumped past the like, oh, I don't know if I'm happy about, me being online. Well, you're already there. So that's good. You've already got a good starting point. So that's always good. But essentially what you've probably got to do is you've got to write down and go, okay, well, if this is the life that I want to get to, and I have a why behind why I want to get that life, then what's going to happen if I stay the same, if I don't get in front of that camera, if I don't put that value out, if I don't go down that route? Like, what's my life going to be like? And then you look at it and go, okay, well, that's how my life's going to be like, but how do I get to the life that I want to do? So what's it going to feel like if I just keep in this list that I've made here? What am I going to feel like? And essentially, am I happy with that? And most of the time it's going to be no, I'm not happy with that. So you've got to then create the fact, then you've got to then create a list of, look, if I go in front of that camera, if I go on that podcast, if I write that piece and somebody disagrees with me or whatever, like what's essentially, what is the worst that can happen if I do that? Like, and if I do all them things on that list, is that going to get me closer to my why, closer to the life I want? So I think sometimes you've got to go, look, like you've got to look at it in a logical way, and see, first of all, you're already your brand anyway. So you're already out there, but you've got to look at it in the sense of like, if I don't go do this, what's going to happen? If I do go do this, what's going to happen? And one of the analogies that I use is from traveling. So because I travel majority on my own, I meet friends here and there and all this kind of stuff. But for example, for you people out there who've already been to hostels and understand how they are, and the people who don't understand kind of how hostels are, they're like a mini community of people, all essentially have the kind of same outlook on life, or everybody's friendly, and generally speaking, everybody's friendly, and everybody has the same outlook on life. Now, the way that I see it is, if I go into a dorm room full of other people, it might be 6 bed, it might be 8 bed, like 10 bed. Again, if you're used to hostels, and you'll be used to this kind of format. But the way I do it, the way I see it is, if I go in there and I go sit down on my bed, now I have one or two options essentially for this evening. I have option number one is I sit here, I don't say hi to anybody, and I don't do anything, and guess what? Nothing will happen. And then tomorrow I'll wake up and go, that wasn't a very good night. This hostel's no good, or this city's no good, or this country's no good. The other option, the alternative option, is to actually action. Go do something. Say hi to somebody. And as soon as you start saying hi to one person, the next time you say hi, that fear, that little self-voice, inner voice, whatever you want to call it, goes away. It disappears. So the more you do it, the stronger that muscle essentially gets. Just like lifting weights, the more you do it, the stronger it gets. And that's option number two. Just say hi to one person and hi to another person, and you just don't know where that's going to lead that night. It could lead to the best night of your life. So yeah, I like that analogy of, essentially it's up to you. You've got to make that action, and as soon as you make that action, it will actually get easier.
Yeah. So it's just do it. And I love what you said too, man. You're already out there, right? If you've got a Facebook profile, if you got an Instagram profile, like, you're already out there, whether, you've considered it or not. I mean, if you're trying to get to something, you have to realize that there's going to be some uncomfortable things to do along the way,
Yeah.
And I love that analogy too. I'm going to share a quick story. As you were talking about that, I'm thinking about, earlier we were mentioning, I just traveled through Europe myself, and ended up staying in a hostel in Amsterdam, which is the first place I landed in, right, when I got to Europe.
Yeah.
And so this is my first time in Europe, first time in Amsterdam, and I'm in the hostel, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, the first night I sat there, I didn't talk to anybody. And the next day I was just kind of bummed. I was like, this is cool and all, but this is not what I expected. Right. And so the next night I was like, screw this. And I went down to the bar, which was actually right under the hostel. There was a bar right below. I was sitting at the bar, and, I decided to have a beer, and then some guys, they were hanging out, and we just start chit chatting, and before I know it, I told them, this is my first time in Amsterdam. I'm an American here in Europe. Like, show me, like, what should I do? Well, of course, we end up in the red light district, and they're showing me all the crazy brothels and the prostitutes and stuff in the windows. And I mean, I didn't spend any money that night on that kind of stuff, but it was definitely an eye opener, and for sure, like, one of the coolest nights and experiences of my life. So I totally agree. Just as soon as you jump out of your shell, you jump out of that little hesitation, life is going to explode for you. That's amazing. Cool, man.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit. I want to talk to you about, like, the work-life balance, because something I like to say is, a lot of people don't realize that, to become an entrepreneur, like, they're trading their 40-hour work week for like a 100-hour work week. There's a lot of work that's involved in actually building a business and a brand for yourself. So how do you balance that work, with your travel and everything else that you've got going on?
Yeah, so obviously, really good question, and it's a tricky one. Essentially, I look at life as life, so I don't kind of buy into this whole work-life balance. I don't. I think that's kind of been created for this 9-to-5 world that's been pushed on everybody, and I think that's kind of a kind of a way that they've used to kind of manage that situation, saying, no, you've got your work life, you've got your out of work life, and that's your work life balance. So you've got to go to work, you've got to go do this and this and this, so that you can go do this other stuff. And I don't like to see it like that. I don't think that's the way that essentially humans should be. And there's only been a very small part of human time on this planet where that's been the case. So I like to see it as life. So I guess I'm fortunate to be in the situation I am now, based on what I've done over the last few years. Since I guess university, I'm fortunate to be in the position where I am now, where I can see life as not life balance, work-life balance, but just life. So there's one path, and there's something that I want to get to, and I see it as one thing. So for me, like, there's no such thing as weekends. There's no such thing as like holidays. That's nothingness. There's just one life. So if it's the case that one day I'm working 15 hours because something needs to be done, it needs to be on time, it needs to be done for a client or whatever it might be, then it's done. But that's not to say that tomorrow morning I don't go to the gym for 2 hours, or in the afternoon I don't play golf. If there's something that I want to go do, you find time, just like you do in work time. You slot it in. You slot it into your calendar, into that day, into that week. So you play things around and you work out what's best for you. So it's almost like you're not living these two separate lives, because that's where living two separate lives don't go into your massive why. It doesn't go into your values. And the last thing that I want to do personally is ever to be in a situation where I'm at work, and just like my friends now, I speak to every day about this, at work, they're looking at the clock and they can't wait for that day to go. They can't wait for them 7-8 hours to go. They want it to go like that. And guess what you do when you do that? You want your life to go at a flash. Now, when I'm working for myself, it's all about me. It's all about getting to that why. It's all about what I want to do and how my life is structured to get me there. Now, I literally cannot wait to get out of bed. I can't wait to get up. I can't, like, before, before I was in the shower in the morning, I didn't want to get out of the shower. Now, don't get me wrong, my jobs that I've had have not been the worst jobs in the world. They've not been down a coal mine or anything like this. But I just didn't want to get out of the shower, because I knew as soon as you get out of the shower, the next things was work. Now I just can't wait to get out. I can't wait to get back to it. Can't wait to go to sleep, to get up, to do it, because everything I'm doing is moving me towards that goal. So, asking about like work and life balance, I see it as one life. I see it as what I want to do. And when I'm working remotely around the world, if in the afternoon I want to go see this, Mayan pyramid, if I'm in Mexico, then that's when I'm going to go see it. I make sure that I don't plan a call with a client. I make sure that I don't have something that's got a deadline to it. And then I go do it. I don't really see this, like I say, holiday, weekend mentality, evenings mentality. You work when you need to work, and you do that, and you do it as best as you can do it, because that fuels your rest of your things, so that it kind of snowballs to the rest of the time, to the rest of your life. But do it as best as you can, but just understand that as soon as you've done that, and as soon as you've done what you need to do, you can then plan the other stuff you want to do, and whatever that might be. It's different to everybody, but yeah, I'm a strong believer that there's one life that you've got, especially in our world of working for yourself. You've got one life, so figure out the best way to manage that life. And if that's, you want to go to the gym at 2 p.m. every day, and that's your routine, and do it. If that's what you want to do it, because this is the life we've created, that we can organize this life like that. So yeah, I'm always about the one life now.
That's a beautiful answer, man. I mean, it's really, you just described a perspective shift, right? So it's not, like you say, it's not looking at it as, okay, this is work and now here's my life. It's, when you start doing something on your own, it should become one and the same. And realistically, again, if you're still doing something that you don't like to do, that's not happy, it's not making you happy, then you're still not on the right track, right? The work that you do should be fun. It should be something you enjoy. So that it's not something, like you say, you're waiting for that clock to hit 5 o'clock or whatever so you can go home, or you're waiting for the weekend or the evening so you can go home and finally do what you want to do. Build a business around things that you enjoy and that you want to do. And then you never have to, differentiate between work and life. I love that perspective, man. That's great. That's awesome. So Dan, okay, we're going to wrap it up, man. I want you to tell me and think about, when you first started, what is some advice you would give yourself when you first started this journey?
Looking back, I find it difficult, because I'm never one to have like regrets. I don't think, I regret doing that, or I regret not doing that, because I just think that everything, Steve Jobs once said that at the time he didn't realize why something happened. So if something negative happened or something positive happened, it never, at the time you can never work it out. But he always said that, especially when he was getting to the end of his life, he said, once you look back, you can start seeing all the dots. So you can start seeing why that happened, because it had to flow to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And he said, then you start looking back, you can really see of why it's happened. So like, I don't really have regrets. I wouldn't say that if I went back down to 2015 version of me, you know, what would I do? The only thing that I potentially would do, I guess, looking back is, you know, maybe, I don't know, realizing when I finished school that there is another way. There is another, you can make your own reality. There is another way than what society is social conditioning us to believe. There is another way. You don't have to go the route of university, get a job and be in that world, have that work-life balance. You don't have to do that. So if there were one thing that I would tell myself, and the one thing that I would really think that would really help and help anybody who's in, you know, just coming out of school or whatever stage you are in life, is to understand that there is another way. If you're not happy, there is another way. And I guess secondary to that, if I could go back and tell myself of 18, go travel as young as possible, because you would not realize how much of an impact it has on your entire reality. You know, I always, when I'm traveling and I come across people who are like 18, 19, I'm like, you do not believe what a decision you've made now,
Yeah.
because you are in the 1% of the world who realizes that reality is different now for you. And people might not understand, but this is what it is, you know. And if I could go back to me 18, I'd probably say that I would probably just get on a flight. As crazy as that would sound to the 18-year-old version of me, yeah, but yeah, that's yeah. So the only
That's,
two pieces of advice that I'd use for anybody, I guess, would be like, you can do your own thing. You don't have to follow what society is saying, especially now, like we've talked about with the internet and social media. You could do your own thing, create your own world, create your own reality, and go travel and blow your reality completely out of the sorts. And this is why you're laughing, because you know what I'm on about. You know, just change the way that you look at reality, and travel is like the quickest and so far the only way that I know how to do that. And yeah, that's the
yeah,
main thing.
that's brilliant, man. I mean, you know, just plant the seed a little earlier. You know, that'd be my advice to myself as well, is try to plant that
Yeah.
seed earlier. Those are two great messages, guys. You know, if you could just travel, just get out there and see the world and start opening your mind, your life to more experience. And then understand that if you're not happy, you know, there is another way. There's always another option, right? You do not have to sit in a life that you don't like. You don't have to sit in a job that you don't enjoy, that doesn't fulfill you, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, life is short, man, and this is our one shot. We gotta really take advantage of it. So, Dan, I love that answer, man. I appreciate your time. Tell the people how they can, you know, find you, get in touch with you if they need help with their social media or their marketing. You know, where can they find you?
Yeah, cool. So yeah, my current kind of, I guess, role is founder and CEO of Chasing Flags Digital. So we're a digital agency, offer services from paid social to paid search to organic search and email automation. So if there's anybody out there who's watching this who needs some help or some advice, consulting, or for my agency to run it, then reach out. So my main website is chasingflags.com. So you might see the name tying back to travel there. And then my other website is danjelson.com. So it's more of a personal branding website. That's more me with travel and kind of marketing and this kind of lifestyle at the core. So yeah, watch them two websites. You know, there's like I said, the more digital agency website, and then the more personal kind of blog, that kind of website. I'm on Twitter as well as Jet Elson. I'm on Instagram as well as Jet the what's it now? I recently changed it. I'm just trying to remember. Jet the Journey. There you go.
All
So
right.
I'm sure if you want to reach out, Corey will pass on my details. But yeah, if you want to add me on Facebook, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram, whatever, then I love to speak to you, and if I can help you in any way possible, and I will do.
Awesome. Definitely, guys. Go follow Dan. Go check him out. I'll link everything, in the show notes for sure. Dan, again, thank you so much, man, for your time today and for all your wisdom and insight. You've definitely helped the audience. You've helped the people figure out, maybe another option for themselves. So appreciate it, man. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Excellent. Yeah, appreciate you having me on.